3.5 million years ago, the human animal stopped swinging in trees and started walking on the ground. Each human brought down with them their own unique way of communicating, their own unique manner in which they display emotion, and their own conflicts and ego. With 8 billion of these human beings walking around the same earth, you may have a strong, compelling urge to run back up into the safety of the trees. But don't. Instead, learn. Learn how to live among the humans.
And yabba dabba do, everybody. That last video, I seemed a little mean in, huh? I was watching it and I was like, wow. I did that video during the pandemic a few years back ago. So this one is brand new, I guarantee you. No more reruns for you guys. Today we will be speaking about emotions. Yeah, a huge topic, emotions. So that's what today's lecture is about. I will start off this lecture by posing a question. Can you wake up and say to yourself, today I am going to be happy. I'm going to be in a good mood. No matter what happens, nobody is going to affect my emotion of a good mood, of happiness. Could you actually get out of bed, go to school, or go to work, or what have you, and by the time your day is done, that you've kept in that good mood that whole day? Could you actually decide what emotion you will carry with you throughout the day? Or do others who interact with you, do they dictate what emotion you're going to have? A pretty good question. Sometimes it works the opposite way. Sometimes you say to yourself, no more. People take advantage of me and that's it. Today, I am going to be quiet. I'm not going to speak to anybody, and I'm going to be just very focused. I'm going to be in a bad mood. Is it able to keep that? Or when you get on the subway train and you are doing your, I'm going to stay in a bad mood, and all of a sudden you look and you see, I don't know, a box of baby ducks, a box of little puppies, maybe only one puppy that a 7-year-old little boy or little girl has. As you look, are you able to keep your negative emotion, or does that actually switch your emotion? Just like if you said you were going to be in a good mood and you're walking down the street and somebody bumps into you quite hard and doesn't say, excuse me, and keeps walking, or somebody else is rude to you in some manner, will that throw you off? So it's quite fascinating when you think about it. Are we in charge of our emotions, or are there other people out there that make us change our emotion, no matter how much we want to not change our emotion? Now, I got news for you, because I have the research on it, which way it goes. Can we control it or can we not? And guess what? The research is mixed. The social scientists do not agree upon whether we can do this or not. It has a lot to do with, are we really feeling that emotion and not actually displaying it? So it's very, very hard. So researchers have not come to a conclusion. However, we do all agree upon the fact that you're going to get an emotion, or you're going to choose an emotion. What you do with that emotion, how you express that emotion, is what you control. So once again, the key to it is you might not be able to control which emotion you have, but the way you express that emotion outwardly is definitely your choice. Pretty good one, eh? All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about. So let's talk about emotional messages. Um, why do people even communicate emotion? Think about it. I mean, really think about it. I'm happy. Why do I have to express it? Why do I have to tell people I'm happy? Why do I have to walk? I mean, sometimes we involuntarily smile, but that fades away after 3 to 6 seconds. I mean, why do we have to walk around smiling? And when somebody says, "How are you?" you say, "I am doing wonderful." Why is that? Or when we're angry, we have to let everybody know we're angry. What's wrong with you today? I'm angry. At what? So why do we even display our emotions? Just because we have the emotions, do we have to display them? Well, that is the first thing that you're learning. Just because you get an emotion, do you have to display it? So why do people choose to display their emotions? Well, 3 reasons. One is you want attention. Um, Sometimes it's pay attention to me, pay attention to me. You guys think I have it easy in life. You know what? I don't. I can complain. You pay attention to me. We also might be using it for attention. So somebody gives us, for lack of a better word, advice, consolation. They we sit there and instead of saying, I'm so sad, I wonder if things are going to be better. Do you think things are going to be better? Instead, all we have to do is say, oh my God, I'm so sad. And somebody comes up to us and says, it's okay, things will get better. Um, and sometimes we're asking kind of, what should I do now? Oh, I'm so angry. What would you do? So that's one of the reasons why we express it. So people, we need the attention, um, not necessarily in a narcissistic way either. Another reason why we do it is we want to vent, which I find this one remarkable. Hopefully this video will be good because there's some good stuff, and here's one that was, at least I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, we vent. How many times do we just go off? In fact, um, men, it says we don't even need our partner there to vent. If we're yelling and we're angry and we're screaming, we go, blah, 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 blah. And the person says, you know what? I'm leaving till you calm down. And the guy will go, I don't care, go. And when the person leaves, they'll still, yeah, I don't care whether you went or not. I don't care whether you're out. Good, have a good time. Person's not even there. We're doing it to vent, to let off steam. We think it works, and that's why we do it. Well, guess what? Venting doesn't work. Venting is usually not done with happiness. It's usually done with some sort of anger or rage. What will, or if you're worried and you're anticipating something. So what is funny is we think that if we vent, it'll help us. Show your emotion, let it out. But what happens are when we light up the brain, that part of your brain that controls anger, as you vent, it doesn't dissolve. It either stays the same or at times it increases. So, I mean, when you vent steam, the steam goes out and it usually either stays the same so the tank doesn't explode, or if you're actually venting it, like, venting a drain, you do it till it disappears. That's why you're venting. But when you're venting in an emotional state, the brain, when we put it on things that light up those certain sections, that section of anger does not go down. It either stays the same or it gets larger. And we'll talk about it later. When it gets really larger, it starts taking over other parts of your brain. So, and guess what is pretty funky is that your emotions right here, part of your brain, are right next to the part of the brain that kind of figures out consequences. So here's your emotion, here's the consequences. All of a sudden, this thing gets so big that it overlaps into the consequences. This is why when somebody says, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. And they go, well, if you kill them, you're going to go to prison. You're not going to see your family anymore. It's going to be absolutely awful. And what does the person say? I don't care. I don't care. It'll be worth it. It's been known that people are choking other people and somebody's begging, cut it out. And they say, I don't care. Well, of course they care. But that is the part of the emotional hijacking that can get so much part of your brain that it takes over your common sense. So think about in your own life how many times you got angry and afterwards there were consequences. You might have said, well, I didn't know that. No, you didn't care at the time because more than likely it took over that part of your brain. So let me tell you something, that venting does not work. And the last way, so we have pay attention, to get attention is one reason why we show our emotions. The second one is to vent. And the third one is we want to bond. Yeah, we're humans. We want to bond. Uh, Sometimes if we see a group of people laughing, we walk up to them already smiling and we start almost laughing before we even know what their group is talking about. But we're trying to bond. At a funeral, even if you're having the best day in your life and you have a funeral at 2 p.m., you don't walk in going, yes, yes, yes. No, you get the same emotion everybody else in the funeral parlor has, and somebody looks at you and you both look. And so we also use it to bond. This is what a party pooper is. Uh, don't you love when we could put social terms into slang terms? But a party pooper is somebody who does not use emotions to bond. They will come in with whatever emotion they have to that party, and they don't care about bonding. But most people do, and that's why we show our emotions, express our emotions. All right, so if you do decide, see, that's the first thing. Not every emotion has to be shown. The world doesn't have to know every time you're happy, every time you're sad, every time you're disappointed. Um, so that's the first step. Do we expect that's, and I had somebody once, a student ask me, is that what emotional people are? Absolutely. It doesn't mean that an emotional person has any more emotions than somebody who's labeled not emotional. It's just that they express it a lot more. Almost every emotion they put out. Now with social media, guess what? Not only do they express their emotion, but they also express it to literally the world. All right. So now let's say that you do decide to express your emotions. There's a few things you might want to consider on how you're going to express it. First of all, you're going to do it face to face. You're going to do it on an email. You can do it on a text. So the first thing is, if somebody disappoints you, is it better in an email? Do you go face to face? So that's the first thing you have to decide. Um, and next, you've got to start making sure that you use some knowledge that you've learned from some of these other videos. You pretty much have to have your nonverbal working with your verbal. That is, messages are packaged. You choose your words if you are showing your emotions. Still choose them. Don't let them take over that part of your brain. So if you're going to express your emotions, choose your words and your nonverbal. Don't tell somebody, like I always do, if somebody says, okay, we good now? I say, oh yeah, we're good. Well, obviously, my nonverbal is not showing the emotion. My voice is saying, we're good, meaning, wow, things are resolved. Look, that should put on a happy face that things are resolved. So, if you are going to express your emotion, make sure you choose your words that fit the emotion. Now, The next one is the last one. If you decide to communicate your emotion, is a big one. Decide which emotion to reveal. Which emotion to reveal. This is huge. If you are a new couple and all of a sudden one of you say, I'm going out with my friends. And the other person says, okay, of course, that's cool. You do what you want to do. What time are you going to be home? And they say, it's work friends, probably about 8 o'clock. Okay. That person goes out and the other person's at home and 8 o'clock comes and goes. Nobody's there. 11 o'clock, still nothing. No phone call. The other person uses a cell phone. The person at home, the person out in the bar or the restaurant does not pick up. Goes straight to voicemail. The person at home starts to get worried. Oh my God, it went right to voicemail. Uh, they're worried. They're scared. They're apprehensive. Uh, they're petrified. There are many emotions. None of them are anger. None of them are anger. They're confused. Now the person walks in the door at 1:30 in the morning, drunk. The person, as soon as they see the person walk through the door, all those emotions of apprehensiveness, of of being worried, of being concerned, all those now are gone. Person walks in and now it's anger. I can't believe they didn't call me. I can't believe they shut their phone off. And so you say, what happened? And if you were a parent, you would say, what happened? I thought you were dead. I was worried out of my mind. Watch this. I was worried out of my... Worried as kind of a nonverbal, like, I was so worried. But here you are yelling that you were worried. You see how emotions are messed up? You're saying that you're worried, but you're yelling that you were worried. You're angry. So now you're showing that person who walked through the door only angry. And that person might say, I'm sorry, but you're going to keep up with your anger. And this is where you say, I was concerned. I thought you were dead. I was shocked. That's where you go through that. And sooner or later, the other person doesn't want to hear it. And they're going to say back because you've been yelling at them. So that person's going to yell back because we're about to learn in a few minutes that emotions are contagious. So that person's going to yell back at you. Good luck settling that. Now it's 2:15 in the morning. Y'all are going to bed angry. And then when you get up in the morning, it's going to continue. But if that, and it'll continue. Now it's talking about, don't I have a right to have a life of my own? Are you jealous of my friends? I was out with, I mean, boy, this argument now, it could go to, you were cheating on me. How do I know you were in the restaurant? Let's just say that when that person came home at 1:30, you told them the emotions you were feeling and you checked yourself. So when they came in, you said, first of all, say what you mean. Thank God. I thought you were dead. Yeah, yeah, because that's how you felt. But you didn't want to express that emotion, did you? You wanted to show that you were angry right away. But you really, thank God, I thought you were dead. At least that's how I would feel. And then they would walk and they would say, I'm sorry. And usually you might start unloading with that, or not unloading, let's talk. Then you would express your anger emotion. But instead, what happens if you express those other emotions that you were actually feeling? And you say, you know what? I want you to know, I was so scared. I was petrified something happened to you. Now, more than likely, though, well, nothing did happen. Now, we're not resolved yet. This is when now you really show your, really think about your emotions. What were you? Well, here you are, a new couple. You just moved into an apartment together. And the first time that person goes out with you, without you, they're 5 hours late. They're coming home at 1:30 in the city on a subway. Don't they know that you're at home? That they know that you're, well, they probably know you're upset. Uh, they probably don't know that you're confused though. So if you really want some conversation going, when they come home and you say, I thank God, I thought you were dead, and they laugh it off, and you go, um, I was really scared. Blah, blah, blah. If you keep saying how scared you were and how panicky, after a while, they're going to say, I'm okay, especially if there's alcohol involved. Uh, but what were you? You were confused. So how about looking at the person and just going, I'm just confused. I thought that you loved me and I loved you, and now I have to second guess it. And they're going to say, why is that? Well, you shut off your phone, which just confuses me. See, it doesn't anger you. It doesn't piss you off. It confuses you. You don't know their explanation yet. They might have lost their phone. It might have got ran over by a bus. You don't know yet. So how could you be angry about it? You're only confused about it. See, I love this emotional stuff. Um, Now, that's how you want to start resolving this. I'm so confused. If I don't know if this is really what I thought it was. Now, if the person says to you, well, sounds like a personal problem, that's on you. Geez, I come home one day I come home and you've got to go crazy on me. Okay, so when you're unconfused, let me know. If they do that, think about this is going to be your partner. You tell them you're confused and you're questioning the future of your relationship, and they tell you it sounds like a personal problem. Well, wait till our video for relationships and we'll talk about that. But more than likely, I don't really think that's the good choice. And what a good way to find out, huh? Because if you were just angry and they yell back and you yell back and they yell back and you yell back, um, that's what is that? That's action reaction. Why are they angry? They're the ones who came home late, so they're angry because you're angry. That's not going to resolve anything whatsoever. So, all right, I had a point. I missed the point. I started losing in the middle of it. I was going to sum up a real good point. Oh well, that's why I should edit these better. Okay. So let's actually, by the way, here I am with my notes. Let's talk about this. Now, what I really want to talk about is something called the emotional wheel. In other words, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm really going through some of these notes because I want to get to that emotional wheel. But let me give you some principles. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about, like I did for the verbal messages, we're going to talk about the principles. So when we talk about emotion, what are some of the principles? What are some of the characteristics of emotion? Well, the first one is that emotions are contagious. Emotions are contagious. I just spoke about, I know people that hear laughter and they laugh. This is why, as a stand up comic, it's nice to have some people laugh, because some people laughing will get more laughing, even if they find you funny or not. Where if everybody's silent and nobody's laughing at your jokes, even if somebody does find it funny, they may not laugh. The spirit of the room is not there. Uh, there's my cat. It seems like my cat's making an appearance. I got the door shut. So I'm going to pause this, which I always mess up. This time I'm going to pause it. And I am going to feed my cat. Okay, I'm back. The cat has been fed. I got a cup of coffee, and let's continue. Yes, emotions are contagious. Um, One way is to prove this is maybe in your own life you've seen this example. Somebody is crying, and you go up to them and you say, "What's wrong?" And they can't tell you. They're saying they're crying, and you tell them, "Please tell me before I start crying." Isn't that remarkable? Um, Little kids about 2 years old or 3 years old, I will see them walking in Battery Park, and they stumble and they fall. And they look at their parents because they don't really know what just happened. And if the parent goes, "Oh my God, are you okay?" The kid will look and go, "Ah," and start crying. If the parent laughs and goes, "Oh my God, you took a tumble," more than likely the kid will laugh. I love riding my bike, and I see a kid tumble, and the parent, or I'm walking, and the parent picks up the kid and goes, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And the kid is crying. I like to walk by and go, "Good wipe out, man. That was great." Because the kid's crying. He's like, "Yeah." Huh? Huh? He or she doesn't know what to do. So it's pretty funny. Emotions are contagious. Let's get into this here emotional wheel, which I have a copy of it myself, and I will put it up right now. Wow, isn't this something? I love this thing. This thing explains a lot. This is a Dr. Robert Plutchik's Wheel of Emotion. So this thing is pretty cool, and this will kind of be the bulk of the lecture. This is what I really want you to get out of it. Look at all these things, man. Now, what happens is scientists have got to, let me see, I've got some good facts for you here. I didn't want to memorize them because I wouldn't have been able to do it. Yeah, here we go. There's 8 primary emotions. But there's almost like over 3,000 little emotions, but what they've knocked it down to is joy and sadness, acceptance and disgust, fear and anger, and surprise and anticipation. So as you could see, they are in that second ring. So let's look at this wheel, because we're going to be talking about it for a little bit. See that center circle? All right. Now go out one. Towards the outside, and that's the second ring. So you see those primary emotions in there: anger, disgust, sadness, surprise, fear. There they all are. Now what's pretty funny, as the emotions get more negative, as you could see, the colors get darker. So, but what I also want you to see is this is the next principle of emotions, that emotions can be primary or they can be blended. So those ones in that second circle, that sadness, the disgust, the anger, those are your primary emotions. And if you look on the outside, we blend the emotions. So when some of these emotions are blended together, we get another emotion. Look at where serenity is on the top. If you put that into the other ones that are next to it, in the 1 o'clock position, so to speak, you have trust. Well, trust with joy. When you have those two emotions, they equal love. But there also has to be the other emotions involved. There has to be acceptance. How could you be in love with somebody who doesn't accept that you're a certain religion, or accept that your political views are this way? I mean, they should accept that if they love you. If they're, I don't know, a religious adversary from another church or religion, or if they're another activist for politics, then yeah. But what does love have to do with it? But yeah, so serenity is part of that love. It's not love if there's always drama in there. There's something wrong. So what's pretty cool about it, if you look at those kind of outside, those triangles, you have submission, you have awe, you have disappointment, you have remorse, contempt, aggression. So one of these ways to use this wheel is, if you think you are in love, Well, you can almost just look at this wheel and look at the emotions that you should admire the person. You should be in ecstasy with that person, blah, blah, blah. So now what I also like is this about this wheel, and it works real good with, look where anger is. Now, what's pretty cool about it is this middle circle, the center circle, where rage is. In that circle around it, such as rage, loathing, grief, those are the most intense emotions. And as you work outside the triangle to the outside, the emotions lessen. In other words, grief is basically, you can't even eat. You can't sleep. Then there's sadness. You eat, you sleep, but you're sad. Then there's pensiveness. Pensiveness is, I don't know, you're a little melancholy. You're not certain. You're not in a great mood, and you're not in a bad mood. You're not depressed, but something's not right. Now, humans, especially, well, I shouldn't say humans, because culture, you'll find out a little bit, culture dictates a lot. But why do we always go to our emotion that's in that center ring? In other words, I miss the subway, and I come into work, I go, I am so angry. The subway didn't come on time, and then the one I was on, well, really, you're in a rage? Even anger, which is the lesser, the next lesser. Oh, I'm so angry. I missed the subway. Blah, blah, blah. You know, are you really angry about that? You're at work. You got there. You're still in one piece. You're not fired. You've explained why. You know what? You were annoyed. You were annoyed. It's the last one. You were annoyed. But we always go to that center ring right away. We always say, oh my God, I was in terror. Oh my God, that person, I was in terror. You weren't in terror. In fact, you might have feared that person, but more than likely you were apprehensive. Because they didn't do anything to you. You're here telling us about it. I mean, you're probably going to be in terror when they're actually doing an action on you that's going to make you a victim. That's where the terror comes in. But if there was just somebody who was on a dark alley at the same time you were, it's not terror. So, as you could see, everything in the center is usually where we go to. Don't. So, we've already learned three very important things. One, you don't always have to show your emotion. Two, if you do want to show your emotion, pick the right emotion. Remember, confused, angry with the person coming home late. And now number three, don't go to that center right away. Are you really are you really in rage? Are you really in ecstasy? Is everything amazing? Why is this also important? Because after a while, when you ask to somebody how something is, and they go, it is amazing. After a while, you find out that everything with this person is amazing. They've lost their credibility. You probably aren't going to ask their opinion anymore. Same thing. If every time somebody asks you what's wrong and you say, nothing, things are wonderful. How are you? Things are wonderful. Really? They're wonderful? Be careful, because after a while, I mean, you can express your emotion, but after a while, people are going to not really believe what you're telling them their emotion is. If somebody's always angry, instead of listening to why that person's angry the next time they're angry and making a decision whether they're justified or not, you will simply think, you know what? They're always angry, and you will shut your mind off. So that is another reason you want to pick the right emotion. All right, enough with this emotional wheel. However, it is amazing. Look at it, learn it, live it. All right, what else do I want to, man? Those three things are really what this video was about. I'm looking through my notes. Oh, I got a real cool research I want to show you. But let me see if there's something more. Yeah. All right. So one of the principles are emotions are influenced by many factors. Emotions are influenced by many factors. Culture has a lot to do with it. Is it okay for a man to cry in Italy in public? Is it okay for a man in Greece to cry in public? Is it okay for a man in Mexico to cry in public? Is it okay for an American man from the United States to cry in public? Well, to answer your questions, in Italy, accepted. Greece, accepted. Mexico, not accepted. And the United States, we're not sure yet. Some people are turned off when they see a man cry, and others think that they're sensitive and they're in touch and they admire them for crying. I'm not about to argue what is right or what is wrong. That's not what this is about. But I will give you an amazing, see that? To me, it is amazing. An amazing study that's done to show that even the culture of gender can influence about how we express our emotions later in life. They took a room, and on one side of the room they put they made a nursery, and it was quite obvious that the baby was a boy. He was dressed in a sports jersey. All the stereotypical boys things were in there. All the colors were blue, dark blue, light blue, trucks, little model trucks. Anybody who walked in obviously knew this was a boy baby. Over here, we did the same thing, except for a girl baby. Pink. All the stereotypical things that our culture knows, the dollies, this, trucks over here, dollies over here, blue over here, pink over here. What they also did was they put in a little buzzard, little shocking device. Don't worry, we're not, well, we are going to shock the baby, but we're not going to shock the baby much, just enough for it to do a little cry. We're going to make it uncomfortable for that baby, and they will express that they're uncomfortable by crying. But before we press that buzzer, of course, we invite some people in and we say, play with the babies. We're doing research on how you're interacting with the babies, which we are. Now they're both fawning over the boy baby and the girl baby, and then we take the buzzer and we go to the girl baby. We go. And all of a sudden she goes, and everybody runs over to her crib, and they look at her, they go, oh, it's okay. Oh, why are you crying? It's okay. It's okay. What's wrong? What's wrong? We do the same thing over here to the boy. And the boy starts crying. And everybody goes over to the little boy. Well, what do you think they tell him? Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong, little soldier? Oh, little boys, don't cry. One of them might shook the little boy. Oh, come on now, everything's okay. With the little girl, we almost petted her hair. With the little boy, they literally shook the boy. So therefore, yeah, there's a real good chance that they are already being told, boys don't cry. Girls can cry. So there you have it. That a lot of culture shows has to do with a lot. It also has to do a lot, let's face it. We just talked about conditioning, which is nurturing. Nature has quite a bit to do with it as well. Underneath the personality In other words, we have extroverts and we have introverts. I apologize if you already know the meaning of these words. For those viewers who don't, I'm sure you've heard of them. You might have mixed them up, so let's talk about it real quick. An introvert, well, think about it. An introvert, they keep things in. Okay, let me shut that door. All of a sudden, I hear the outside music. That means a cat is messing around. Hang on one second. Yeah, he's looking. Hang on one second. Let me pause. It is locked this time. Oh, all right. Yes, an introvert. Think in. They keep everything in. If you're an introvert, you don't really express your emotions. Doesn't mean you don't have them. You have them as much as anybody else. But your personality is that, or you don't. An extrovert, think they give the extra. I hear my cat scratching on the door. They give the extra. Everything they feel, they're going to talk about. Every little thing that they have in their mind, they are going to talk about. That's an extrovert. These cats are driving me crazy. All right. We talked about emotions are contagious. What are some of the obstacles to expressing our emotions? So why do some people, they want to express their emotions, but they don't? What are those obstacles? Well, I gave you one right now. It was one of the principles, but it's also one of the obstacles, and that is the actual gender. In many countries all over the world, what's expected of a man to act? Can a man express the emotion of being scared? Well, you think they're less of a man? And I know for some of you who are very progressive, this sounds ridiculous, but you also know that it exists. We talked about it on the culture one. We have the cowboy syndrome and all that. So here in America, and the strong silent type and all that. Okay, another obstacle is that we have a fear. We have a fear to express our emotions. You know what this is when you're a kid. If you're having a great day, at least where I came from, our emotions, the ones that we expressed at night, dictated how our father felt. So we couldn't say we were in a good mood and run around and be playful if dad was in a bad mood, because we would be scared to show our regular emotion. So maybe we went in a room and played or something, or I probably went outside and screamed. Or if you were angry, if you were upset, you weren't sure. It all depended on how your parents felt. So a lot of times we are scared to show our emotion. We're scared that if we do show our emotion, we'll be attacked for it. I've seen it on both sides. I've seen people say, what are you so happy about when there's so much suffering in the world? I mean, there's some truth to that, but wow. And the last obstacle is that you just haven't been taught interpersonal skills. How many of us are being passed down through generation and generation that the first emotion you have, if you're upset, which could be everything from confusion to anticipation to frustration, but we always go to the anger. Well, that's how my family did it. That's how their family did it. That's how always right to the center thing. You were never taught. Nobody ever showed you the emotional wheel. Nobody ever told you, you aren't enraged that your train is late. You're frustrated. So that's another reason. We just don't know it. Some are worse off than us. Some express their emotion of anger in violence. That's something. There we go. All right. The last tip I will give you, and then we'll end this lecture, is emotional competence. You need to start, you need to, what this means is, how do we do some of the things that I just taught you? How do we know which emotion to choose? How do we calm ourselves down? So the first one is to have an emotional understanding, which hopefully this video has completed. I mean, there's so much more on this stuff, but you should, those are the big three things that you do. Pick your emotions, whether or not you're going to show them, the stuff that you learn. Now that you have it, how do you actually apply it? Well, the first thing is think to yourself, while the emotion is going on, what am I really feeling? And now that you know that frustration is less than anger, that's less than rage, you kind of already now, instead of thinking you only have one thing to pick, you have frustration. And how intelligent to say I'm very frustrated. People are going to say, for what? If you just say I'm really angry, they might go, oh, here he goes again. What am I feeling and what made me feel that way? You might convince yourself that you are feeling angry because that person who's out late, who hasn't called you, that they're trying to get over on you. Go deeper. You're confused. You thought that this was the one. It turns out it might not be. So figure out, ask yourself, what am I feeling and what made me feel that way? Here's another thing. Our emotions are how, that thing, what made me feel that way. Many times I've shown the emotion of anger, and when I look back on it, I'm like, why was I so angry? And it turns out I was in a bad mood. If you get bumped by somebody and you're in a good mood and they don't say, I'm sorry, you might say, sorry about that, pal. But if you're in a bad mood, that same thing conjures up an emotion of anger. In one, it was almost sympathy, understanding. Throw confusion in there. So if I'm confused, maybe no, the other one, you go right to anger because you're in a bad mood. What do we call this in real life? You're looking for a fight. All right. Also then, keep thinking, what exactly do I want to communicate? Enough. We know that you're going to be angry. Enough with that emotion. How about picking some other ones? And what are my communication choices? Do you write that person a letter and then go to bed? You really can't, because you're worried. You're not angry. You're worried whether they're still alive or not. So you might want to write the letter, how you're feeling, wait for them to come home, find out they're alive, tell them thank God you're alive, and then say, I'm going to bed. Read this letter. You know what? Why not? Why not? Because if you both start anger, it ain't going to be solved. All right. Figure out your communication choices. The next one, don't just express general stuff. We talked about in one of those videos how language can be very abstract. And somebody says, oh, I'll see you soon. I'll call you soon. They're not really into you. The same thing. There's some language that's a little abstract when you're talking emotions. Oh, I feel bad. Somebody might go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you cheer up. Why do you feel bad? Bad? That was the emotion you picked? I feel bad? How about, oh, I feel lonely. Oh, really? Why is that? Oh, we're rolling already. Now you express your emotion to get attention, to get support, possibly to get advice, and now you're getting it. Instead of saying, I feel bad, then the person's like, now I gotta find out why. Instead of saying, I feel so bad. No. Oh, I feel so guilty. Why? I said something to this student. I feel just awful about it. Boom. We talked about the intensity. Watch the intensity of your emotions. I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated, I may quit. Not I'm so angry. If you say I'm so angry, I may quit, people think about you and go, wow, he's an angry guy. But if I say I'm so frustrated, I'm going to quit, they're wondering what I'm frustrated about. I love this stuff, guys. And, you know, think about how much is your fault. Every now and then I've dribbled in, I don't think in these videos, but in my classrooms, I dribble in about anger, anger displacement. We don't want to yell at ourselves, so we yell at other people. We're looking for a fight. And most of the time, it's our fault. Go on, man. Wait till Sunday night when you were given on Thursday to do your paper, your 2-page paper. Not much, but you let it go. By Sunday, you're going to be in a bad mood that day because you still haven't got it done. But it's not your fault. You're going to do it Sunday night. You planned on it. It's no problem. I work good under pressure, right? Yeah, well, that Sunday, you're going to be in a bad mood. And you're going to snap at people. Well, snap at yourself for not doing it on Thursday. But if you did it on Thursday, man, you'd be floating. You'd be floating through that Sunday. All right. That is it, gang. I got it. I think that's all you need to know. So, emotion messages are done. Our next video is going to, and no more reruns. By the way, some of you actually emailed me and asked if my eyebrow was okay because there were patches in my hair, and I only had a half an eyebrow on my last video. Yeah, I'm okay now. And I will leave it at that. But no, I did not join a gang where I shaved half my eyebrow, and I didn't try to give myself a haircut. So I will be here with both eyebrows from now on, as much hair as I can conjure up, and that is it. All right, yabba dabba do. Feel free to put comments in the comment board. Share these videos with people outside the classroom if you think it'll help them. And that be it. Our next one is on conversations. It'll be a good video. Quite a few people don't really know how to have a good conversation. And if you go, how could that be? Well, I'm sure you've heard people say before, wow, he is a very good conversationalist. I've heard it a lot, but never about me because I interrupt too much. All right. Once again, yabba dabba do, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you, everybody.